I am a clay jar. I am shaped to hold water, oil, grain. I am not shaped to hold fear. But that is exactly what I carried through the entire camp, in Yona's outstretched hands, while 6 million people watched. Now, I will tell it in order, because to understand a smell, you first need to understand where it came from. Dawn touched the edge of the sky, and the desert turned white. Quiet, even, like snow, only warm. Manna lay on the ground in small white grains and smelled like something homely, something that does not exist in the desert. The whole camp came out silently, and for a minute, just stood. 6 million people. Silence. Then everyone began to gather. Tolly ran out first. Arms spread, face lifted. Mom, what is this? Amos was already squatting, studying a grain on his palm. He licked it. Sweet, like honey, but different. Devora, the neighbor, gathered quickly, businesslike, like a person who does not waste time on wonder. Nahum and Gershom, her sons, poured something, yawned, went back. Esther, the daughter, gathered silently, carefully, exactly as much as needed. Miriam looked around, at the neighbors, at how much the others were taking, and they were taking differently. Many lingered, many left with heavy hands. She looked at me. I was half full. Tolly tugged her sleeve. Mom, we took less than those over there. Miriam and Yona exchanged a glance, briefly, the way people do who share one language between them. Moses said, by morning it will spoil. Simple and clear. But the desert behind them was long, and they remembered hunger well. A day in the desert is long, especially when there is nothing to eat. Devora ran out by midday. I heard it through the fabric. First silence, then the familiar clatter of an empty bowl. Then Nahum's voice. Mom, is there anything else? Are you serious? That was Devora. You ate for 3, and you're asking if there's more? I'm just asking. Gershom, don't touch what's left, she shouted already in the other direction. I'm not touching it? I can see how you're not touching it. Esther was silent. She was always silent. Tolly sat next to me and listened with undisguised interest. Mom, she said quietly, do they not have food again because Nahum and Gershom ate everything? Tolly, I'm just asking. We ourselves had enough food. There was even some left. Behind the wall, Devora rattled dishes and explained to her sons the difference between gather enough and gather just so your mother stops bothering you. Nahum argued. Gershom pretended to sleep. I stood in the corner, full to the brim, and kept silent. The fire was dying out. Amos was already asleep. Tolly lay with her eyes closed. Almost. The parents spoke quietly. That's how people speak when they don't want to be heard. But everything is heard anyway. Nachman and his people took twice as much as we did, said Miriam. We took enough, said Yona. You said that then, too. Remember how it ended. Yona was silent. The children, then. 3 days, Yona. Tolly listened with her eyes closed. 3 days of what? A holiday? Oh, Tolly, I remember that holiday. The bowl you turn over, and nothing. Amos then looked at the bottom with such attention, probably thinking maybe it just got lost. Slaves do not plan tomorrow. Slaves survive today. This is not Egypt, said Yona quietly. I know it's not Egypt, but the children are the same. Miriam came up to me, covered me with cloth, carefully, the way children are covered. I stood in the corner. and already knew tomorrow I would be filled to the brim. Mom, it's moving! I understand her. The smell was such that flies would faint. Amos squeezed past his sister's shoulder, looked inside, drew in the air. Ugh. And not another word. A complete comment. Yona took me silently. Miriam threw a rag over my neck, as if that could help. The smell went through any fabric. Believe me, I know. They carried me to the edge of the camp, to the place where things are taken when they didn't work out. 6 million people. Tents as far as the eye can see. 12 tribes, each in its own quarter. And in every quarter that morning, there were people like us. Yona was not the only one walking with a jar and outstretched hands. Others walked too, silently, quickly, with the look of people who have something to hide. Although there was already nothing left to hide, the smell went ahead of us. The neighbors saw. And they were bad at keeping things to themselves. Wow. Yona said nothing. Amos pressed his lips together. Amos thought out loud. Dad, what if we cover it with salt? No. What if we bury it? It's cooler there. No, Amos. What if... Amos fell silent. Not for long. I'm just saying someone must have managed. Where did you hear that? Yona asked without stopping. Uncle Shimon said. He wouldn't lie. When we returned, there was already noise near the neighbor's tent. Nahum! Gershom! Esther, get up already! Your father will come back, he'll deal with you. Lying there like sacks? The manna is already melting, and you! Come on! Dvorah, the neighbor, clapped her hands. Nahum tumbled out of the tent, then Gershom, slowly, sleepy, displeased. Let's go already, Nahum muttered. Let's go already. Yesterday it was also, let's go. You brought half a jar, ate all day like 7. And today who's gonna gather? Esther alone? Esther stood at the entrance with a bowl, silent, watching. They went, unhurried. I was washed, thoroughly, several times. Then they went to gather, all 4 of them, quickly, silently. Everyone knew their place. Everyone knew how much. Amos gathered carefully with both hands. Miriam looked at him. Then at Nahum and Gershom, they dragged themselves ahead. One yawning, the other looking at the sky. She said nothing, just nodded, barely noticeably, to herself. In the evening, Amos laid out on the mat salt, a piece of wax, a strip of cloth. I have a plan. Yona looked at Miriam. Miriam looked at the tent ceiling. I'm listening, said Yona. Salt. Amos lifted the small bag with the look of a healer. Meat is salted. Fish is salted. Why not manna? Because Moses said it will spoil, said Miriam. Moses didn't say why. Maybe it's the air. Salt doesn't let air through. That's chemistry. Tolly raised her hand. But what if it doesn't help? It will help, said Amos. And if... Tolly, said Miriam. I'm just asking. Yona covered me with cloth, tightly, put me in the corner. I stood in the dark. The salt stung from the inside. A reliable source. Who has a reliable source? But Amos looked at me with such hope. The night passed. The salt did not help. Amos pulled off the cloth. Froze. Dad? Yona came closer. His jaw tightened. Maybe not enough salt, Amos said quickly. Or we used the wrong kind. We should have poured deeper, where the air doesn't reach. Amos, said Yona. Amos fell silent. Miriam silently took me. carried me to the exit, the same path, the same looks, only now with curiosity or with pity. Which is worse? I don't know. We came back, washed, gathered manna. The wind in the desert died. The air stood still, heavy and hot like molten lead. My smell no longer went up into the sky. It settled around the tent like a sticky, invisible dome. Miriam tried to wave cloth, driving the air away. Tally sat at the entrance, wrapping her face up to her eyes. Behind the wall, you could hear the neighbors coughing and Dvorah grumbling about a cursed place that smells like death. Amos sat by the tent, drawing in the sand. Dad, salt is chemistry, but here we need holiness. Yonah raised his eyes. If food falls from there, Amos pointed his finger at the sky, then where his house is, he pointed toward the tabernacle, time flows differently there. It won't spoil there. A long pause. There is guard there. Levites, said Yonah. Not inside. Nearby, by the road they walk every morning with incense. The air there is different. Even the dust is different. Miriam quietly, only for Yonah. The neighbors are already looking for where the carrion is buried. If they find it near the tent, we'll be driven out of the camp. Yonah looked at me for a long time. Then, we are carrying our rot to the chistest place on earth. Do you understand what we are doing, Miriam? Miriam did not answer. That was the answer. We walked toward the center of the camp, to the place where at night the pillar of cloud glowed. The closer we came to the tabernacle, the heavier I became. Not from the manna, from the awareness that we were carrying our rot to the purest place on earth. We did not go to the tabernacle itself. Even Yonah's recklessness had limits he did not dare cross. We stopped where the living quarters ended, and the empty, trampled ground began, leading to the sanctuary. Yonah and Amos decided to bury me by the road along which the Levites carry incense every morning. Amos, carefully packing the sand. The air is cleaner here, Dad. Even the dust is different. It won't let the manna rot. Yonah answered in a whisper. If even this doesn't help, we are cursed, son. I ended up under the ground, but my smell knew no boundaries. It seeped through the sand like a poisonous fog, crawled along the legs of the waking people, mixed with the aroma of fresh manna, and turned it into poison. Dawn. Yonah and Amos are coming to me, quickly, with a shovel. But they are not alone. A group of people is already standing there, covering their noses, watching. Yonah freezes. Amos tries to pretend they were just passing by, but a shovel is a poor alibi. When Yonah began to dig me out under the gaze of dozens of people, I was no longer a vessel with food. I was their exposed fear, put on public display. The rumor spread through the whole tribe instantly. By the tent, neighbors were already standing. The crowd parted before Miriam, and someone said with undisguised amazement, "Miriam, that's your jar. You weren't even afraid to bury it near the tabernacle?" Silence fell. Yonah slowly lowered his head. Miriam looked at her hands, full of fresh, sweet manna, which against this stench seemed like a mockery. Miriam scrubbed my sides as if she wanted to erase the clay itself. She spent on me the second portion of precious water for the day, more than we received food in a week. Miriam scrubbed my sides as if she wanted to erase the clay itself. She spent on me the second portion of precious water for the day, more than we received food in a week. We are spending water we don't have to wash a jar from food that cannot be stored, she said quietly, only for Yonah. Look at the children. Amos was already feverishly muttering something about solution number 4. What if next time we wrap it in sheepskin? No, Amos. Yonah cut him off. No more what-ifs. Yonah took me in his hands, walked to the exit. We survived in Egypt because we saved every crust. That fear saved us then. Miriam looked at the falling manna. But now that fear is stealing tomorrow from us. Nothing. They gathered, ate, left nothing. I stood by the entrance, empty, clean. It was strange, and strangely good. Miriam looked at me in the morning and turned away. Moses said, "Today gather double. Tomorrow is Sabbath. Tomorrow manna will not fall." The whole camp froze. Then Shum rose. Miriam stood at the entrance of the tent, looked at me. I saw how she was thinking, saw how fear was rising. Old, familiar, Egyptian. 3 days of hunger. The bottom of an empty bowl. Amos's eyes looking inside, searching for what was lost. Yonah came and stood beside her, said nothing. They went out together, all 4 of them, silently, methodically. Filled me to the brim, a double portion as commanded. Not a word about what will be, not a word about what was. In the evening, Miriam placed me in the center of the tent, covered me with cloth, slowly, not secretly, in front of everyone. Tali reached to pull off the cloth. "I just want to check." "In the morning," said Miriam. Tali withdrew her hand, lay down, closed her eyes. I stood in the dark, full, waiting. Tali woke up first, as always. She came up to me slowly, not at all like last time. Took the cloth, looked back at her mother. Miriam nodded. Tali removed the cloth, looked inside, was silent for a long time. "Mom?" Her voice was different. "Mom, it's the same as in the morning." Miriam came closer. Amos, Yonah, they stood and looked. The same manna, the same jar, but there was no smell, none at all. The white grains lay fresh and quiet, as if they had just fallen from the sky, although today the sky gave nothing. Amos slowly raised his head, said nothing about chemistry, nothing about temperature, nothing about plants. Tali carefully covered me again, the way you cover something you don't want to scare away. "Dad," she said quietly, "why did it stink then, and now it doesn't?" Yonah was silent for a long time. "Because then we did not believe, and now we believed." Tali thought. "That's all?" "That's all."